You're with me, Miss M, and I'm talking to Wynne Alexander all the way from the US, and we were just talking off air about some of the issues involving Iran and also the status of women. And of course, all opinions are different, and all listeners to this show are different as well, and we respect that, but we're hearing the opinions today of Wynne Alexander, who's calling all the way from the US, so we do appreciate that very much. Now, we were talking about Muslim women and the headdress, and we were saying just before we went back to air about in Turkey they're actually forced in universities to take their headdress off. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on that?
You know, whenever we go to solve something, you're always at risk for creating two more new problems. And this is just something that we all have to deal with on the planet. I'd hate for anybody to be dictated to. Turkey is, you know, in golf, they have something called military golf for all you golfers out there. When people slice the ball to the right, invariably they overcorrect, and then they shank one off to the left. And then when they try to correct the way they went to the left, they hit another one off to the right. So it's left, right, and they call it military golf. When you're having a really bad day on the course, because what you meant to do was hit it down the middle. And obviously I'm someone who says, please check your history. Look at why you're doing something. Look at who has to do it. Look at who doesn't have to do it. And is there a penalty for you but no penalty for them? And I see an inherent unfairness in that whole headdress thing. And I see an inherent horrendous sexism. And I see a crippling inability to allow all people to blossom and flourish. However, in Turkey, in their wish to be secular, and frankly, I see it as a church and state issue, a separation of church and state. I think that it would certainly be preferable for me not to have women feel that they need to cover their heads or cover their intellect or cover their talent, because, Miss M, you and I know that even Western women have battled that for centuries and centuries and centuries. And some of us are a little further ahead on the continuum, and some of us are further behind. So I hope that Turkey is exercising grace and compassion. But if it were for me, I would certainly say to all women, be who you are. If you weren't born with that thing on your head, that's good. It's okay.
Just quickly, because I want to get back to North Korea, but just very, very quickly, I don't know if you've seen a movie called Persepolis. It was written, well, it was created firstly as a graphic novel by a lady called Marjane from Iran. She is an Iranian woman. And it was made into a movie, a cartoon in black and white, and it talked about her growing up prior to the revolution in Iran of 1979, and basically, as a child, she was like a lot of people and a lot of families, a lot of people, a lot of young people saying, you know, down with the Shah, down with the Shah. And then, of course, the Islamic Revolution happened. We all know what happened after that. And, of course, it dealt with how the Shah did many terrible things, torturing people, killing people. However, it then dealt with all the terrible things that came in after the Islamic Revolution, and how more people were killed, more people were tortured under the, the Ayatollah Khomeini, and also how women, of course, were then, like under one of the Shahs, women it could be optional whether they chose to wear the veil. Under another one, they were forced not to wear one, and then under the Ayatollah Khomeini, all the women were forced to, and they were being told by their teachers, oh, this is liberating, this is liberation. What are your thoughts on all of that? I know it's a lot, but what are some of your thoughts?
Two things. as you were speaking, when I was a journalist on the air every day on WDAS radio, I was one of two, I was told by Iranian revolutionaries that I was the number 1 and 2 go-to guy whenever they would chain themselves to the Liberty Bell. This was during the time of the Shah. The Iranians would chain themselves to the Liberty Bell, which is a very famous icon in the United States. It happens to be in Philadelphia. It dates back to our Revolutionary War. And they would chain themselves to the bell, and they would alert the press.
Mm.
And these were people, I was very well aware of the Shah. I was very well aware of the atrocities. I was very well aware of Savak, which was the secret police of the Shah.
Mm.
And to whatever extent I could help, if it meant going on the radio and announcing that 6 Iranians have again chained themselves to the Liberty Bell, I would do that. I would love to know. I never knew their names. It was very dangerous. I would love to know who they were. And I would love to say to them, is this what you fought for?
Mm.
What kind of hell, what kind of torture could it be for me to fight to overthrow one deadly, stinking, rich bastard, only to be replaced by another deadly, stinking stinker?
Do you think
that, that just, you have to be in hell at that point?
Mm. Yeah. But do you think that the Shah went too far with things like women must not wear the chador, and this would have perhaps annoyed a lot of the religious, the religious right, the religious conservatives, the Muslim leaders, as well as some of the women who really believe that they should wear it?
Well, you see, here's the thing. You bring up again, this is this human condition, this set of foibles that we have to deal with. There's a philosopher in Western philosophy, Western culture, by the name of John Stuart Mill. And he is famous for his greatest happiness principle, or greatest happiness theory. And I just love those words, the greatest happiness principle. In other words, I've got 7 people, and they all have 7 different sets of needs and opinions. Among that 7 or 3 or 5 or 17, how can I create a consensus for each of them to have their greatest amount of happiness? And so I don't need to be put under a thumb. I don't need to be dictated to. I don't need to have 7 children or feel that I'm a failure as a woman.
Mm.
I can go on and be a doctor or a lawyer or a writer or a composer or a pianist. Let me be who I am, and then I'll be at my greatest happiness. And then if you want to wear something on your head, as long as it's not dictatorial and other people aren't being oppressed by it, then certainly I should have it within me to allow you to have whatever you want on your head.